Welcome to the Game Industry Executive Summary. It's been an interesting day today, to say the least. With us is Manu, the Predictor, Rosier. We were initially not supposed to have you on the podcast today, Manu.
Yes.
Dave was supposed to be here. I'm going to share an amazing picture because you're both in Amsterdam for business.
Yeah.
And you guys shared with me this beautiful picture. You both look amazing, by the way. I'm really happy about this picture. If it's okay with you, we'll talk about that later, if I can use it in other social media. But you've had a full day together doing business. You had 30 minutes. So I was like, okay, I'll take you. We'll talk about some important stuff, especially considering Nintendo Switch 2, obviously announced today.
Yeah.
And then if Dave joins, he joins. Otherwise, we'll just cut it short, and that's it. But Manu, I'll jump into it immediately. Tell us, what can we learn about Switch 2?
Not that much at this point. I think a lot of the rumors were basically true. So one of the thing I believe is you can see the picture. There's nothing like too fancy about it. It's very similar shape. I believe the screen is slightly bigger. The Joy-Cons are magnetically attachable, which is quite nice. It's a bit like Apple is doing also. And I think some other manufacturer, they just use magnetic strength for their peripheral. So I think it's going to be handy, but I'm not sure they even announced anything else beside the shape, right? I don't think there is anything. Technical specs, new button, okay, fine, but that's it. So I think what we can say at this point is that it's not a revolution. There is nothing that's going to be changing the landscape at this point. It's more like a refresh of the first one. At least physically, you can't see anything. So it's hard to tell that it's going to move the needle that much. And beside that, I'm just looking at the video, some stuff.
I'm really happy about like you said, it's not. Was it evolution? It's not an evolution, but it's a revolution, and I think like Nintendo has now, they've sedimented themselves as the owners of the handheld, more or less, and obviously a lot of other companies have copied that form factor, so to say.
Yeah.
But I'm really happy that there is a continuation. This is the first time in Nintendo's history, right, where they continue a console cycle or a console. What do you want to call it? I guess platform.
I don't know about the portable console previously, the DS and the 3DS and the DS. I think this was kind of similar. I'm not an expert in handheld history of Nintendo console, so I think on the mobile, on the handheld side, it has been some generation have been closer to each other. So I think it's similar, which I don't know. Let's wait until we see the content. There's nothing for me to be really excited about with what I see right now. And apparently, I think there are rumors or maybe some images might indicate that there will be a new Mario Kart game. That's not going to change the world of the video game, right?
To be honest with you, I mean, me on a personal level, I feel like this made me happy on some levels. Now, obviously, it's not going to change the world. But do we really need to change the world? Do you know what I mean? I feel like, okay, so I'm getting better graphics, stronger machine, better quality machine, hopefully. They probably, solved a lot of the technical issues with the Joy-Cons, quality-wise, hopefully. Bigger screen, maybe more memory, that type of stuff. And then my takeaway is what I saw this morning. Let me just get to it. So, backwards compatibility. I'm really happy about that, right? Same cartridge system, and assumingly also when you're downloading, like same shop, all that stuff. Released this year, that's confirmed. You already mentioned the Mario Kart game. That is a assumption, but it does look like maybe a legit assumption. I don't know. You have to let us know what you think. And then on April 2nd, there's a Nintendo Direct. That's when we will get more details. Is that my understanding?
Yeah, I find it's a long time between. In the world of today, you tell mid-January that you will talk about your console in April. It feels like ages, right? It's like
It
centuries.
does.
So I don't know. I'm not sure about that. The other thing is that everything pointed to unannounced today, all the leaks, and it just happened as expected. So it also, I think it's not gonna help for future surprise announcements from Nintendo if they can be leaked so easily. And ultimately, there is not that much surprise. And I think, as I said on various podcasts, it's we're getting tired of all these rumors and nothing happening. And to the point, I like, oh, you finally announced it, but it's not an event anymore because everybody's been discussing about that for 6 months or for 1 year. So yeah, that's maybe why I'm not that excited. I'm more relieved that we don't have to talk about that for the
Yeah.
next few weeks, probably. Yes.
Do you think they will do like an April showing?
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting they chose April 2nd, by the way. Um, but they're doing an April showing. Do you think they'll do like an Apple, will they like release in a week or like same day or something like that, or do you see like that the release will probably come later during the year? Because it would be weird if this was released at the same time as GTA 6, right?
Yeah, I mean, now they already announced, so it means that a lot of players they're already considering not buying a Switch until they know more, right? This has an instant impact on the sales of the current device. So I don't see them dragging that like 3 months more. There's nothing in there that requires to build up more of the hype. I would really hope that they would say what they have to say beginning of April and then release within a month of that. Maybe at least on time for the summer holidays because that's when you travel and you're on holiday and you're going to enjoy that kind of device. Unlike maybe the console or the PC where you need to be at home to play them. So I think maybe it makes sense to release that at the end of the school year, something like this.
And I mean, we should expect games as well, right? Because if they would release without any new like exclusive game to that platform specifically, that would be a problem.
Absolutely, but the question is still open: if will they release exclusive games, or will they release like upgraded version of some games on the two platform? I think there is nothing is clear about the Switch One future
Gotcha.
in this very small
Did,
deal.
I'm not sure if this was a detail I picked up on or not, but it felt like they were, or at least IGN was claiming there were plans for exclusive games on the new Switch that were
Hmm.
not backwards compatible. If that's my understanding, but I could be wrong on this.
Yeah,
Um, but do you expect any games or any should we expect any games?
I hope they have some games. Yes,
Uh,
they need console sellers, right? They need
yeah,
so Mario might be one a big one. Let's not forget that Mario Kart Switch is just a updated version of the Mario Kart Wii, right? There's not that much
we
new
haven't
in there.
got yes. They released DLCs, but they haven't released a new Mario Kart, so to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
And I think even what was terrible at launch is that all the content was unlocked instantly. So you didn't even have the pleasure of grinding the cars and the
I will say I actually like that, but it's because I didn't play the first one. That's why.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
and maybe you enjoy the game without the grinding element of it. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Um, and to your point, by the way, as well, like we haven't seen a Mario Odyssey like or Mario 64 like type game either
Yeah.
after Odyssey, right? So
Yeah.
that's probably
That's
a good
probably
opportunity.
the big one that might be coming.
Yeah,
Zelda unlikely,
yeah.
but maybe a Mario or something. Yes, that would fully um, leverage the technical upgrade of the Switch 2, right? I mean, even the name is not interesting, right? Sorry, but to Switch 2 it's like it's uninspired. Let's put it that way.
I'm not gonna put you on the spot to suggest another name.
Not today.
But Manu, should I? I've been contemplating this for a while,
Yeah.
but I probably should sell my Switch right now, right? It's probably best. Like keep the games because I have a bunch of games over
Yeah, yeah,
there,
yeah.
right?
If you plan to buy the new one, yes,
Yeah,
maybe I think if you think about smart ideas, you're probably not the only one. That's the thing, unless you are very ahead of things, right? But
Well, I was thinking about it for a while, but I've just been too lazy to do it.
yeah,
But I mean, I think you bring up some really good points because
mm,
now that I think about it, the only reason I want to get rid of this Switch is because the Joy Cons are all broken. They're not like the quality is not perfect.
yeah.
So it's like, okay, I don't want to buy a new Switch, so I'll just buy the Switch 2 and call it a day.
I think
So that's my plan.
what's interesting, it's a good point about the Joy-Con because it means that the previous Joy-Con will not be compatible. So if you usually play for with more than two people, then it means okay, accessories, reselling all the accessories, which is not specifically the case, I believe, with some generation of console where you could still use a controller of the previous one. So I think that's also let's not underestimate the revenue generated by selling accessories, official or non-official.
Yeah, I actually bought additional ones. I mean, when was Switch released? Was that 7 years ago at this point,
Yeah,
roughly?
7 to 8 years ago, yes.
And I think I went through 2 or 3 cycles of
Yeah,
Joy Cons because I mean the quality was absolutely not there. But judging on the video, it seems like the attachment mechanism is completely different. You're not sliding them anymore. You're attaching them, like just clicking them. It seems like.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Manu, because I don't have you for much longer. Anything else about Nintendo Switch, or do you want me to move over to the next item on the list?
Let's go.
Okay, so this is a big item. I think you published this just now,
Yeah,
a year in review. Is that correct?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, trying to get it to load on my side here. But what can we learn about this?
I will not go through all of this, but I try to look at a little bit in the mirror, month by month, about what happened last year. Um, so I think it's always good to see what has happened because do people still remember Paul Wall, for example? Like,
Yeah,
when was Paul Wall released? Because things are going so quickly in our industry that sometimes it's good to have a step back and to see where is the hype now. Oh, do we still have hype for some titles? And I think in the list there are maybe some things I want to summarize. So
this
Palworld,
is
yeah,
this is amazing. By the way, this list like really does summarize 2024.
yeah, I try to choose the right one. Palworld, I would just go spend some time on the one that I find
Yeah,
like significant. I think Palworld, we remember how it exploded. I think what is interesting is that the capacity of create a success based on existing gameplay features, monster collection, Pokemon kind of stuff. You remember it was Pokemon with guns, and sometimes that's enough, right? You don't have to reinvent oh, completely the wheel, but just you combine stuff from that are existing. There's no new feature. It's just a combination of features that put together make it very very fun. I think it was also um, what did I write? Yeah.
are you still on Pal World or the
Yeah,
second
yeah,
one?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
No, I
yeah.
mean, like the audacious mix of open world, and then there was kind of a morally discussable choice. Like you can slave and enslave your pals and things like that. So that was a good one. Then you had, of course, Eldivers 2. And I think what was interesting with Eldivers is how big the success was, and also to see the developer struggle with maintaining the player base, keeping the player base engaged because they didn't have enough plans for the live service because they probably didn't have the resource or were not sure they would be able to commit before the launch of the game to additional resources.
They
So
managed to bring it back to
yeah,
life.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
But you can also see that it's not enough anymore to just sell sell game. You can disappear instantly from the landscape. Um, Dragon Dogma. I think it shows the fact that publishers are going further away in their treasure trove of IPs. Like what can we bring back to life? And in this case, it's an interesting one. The first one was great, and but you also have to find the right balance between being true to your initial material, but also bring with something new for the players. So I think this is cool. They could have just gone the remake version, but they went for the 2 instead. So that's also interesting. Next one, Stellar Blade. I think not so much to say. I haven't played the game, but I think it was special, at least in that month, in the sense that I don't think it's a AAA budget, but the game is compelling. There was a lot of engagement and excitement for that game. It's yet again a Japanese studio, right? So the first 4...
No, it's Korean.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Korean. Sorry, Asian, I wanted to say. So out of the 4 first games, 3 of them are from Asian studios. Hey, Dave.
Hello, it's me. I'm
Hello.
Dave.
Welcome back, Dave.
Yes, good to see you.
So Manu's going through his list 2024.
Okay.
While he's doing that, if you can be kind and get your audio to be higher, and we'll get you in.
I will do that. I will be kind.
Then May, I think what was kind of shocking is the cancellation of Life by You. I think this is it has been discussed for so long before. I know it's kind of a niche, but when you look at The Sims, it's kind of a big niche, right? It's just only The Sims is filling that niche right now. And there is so much to do in this kind of life simulation space. I think probably this audience is a bit underserved right now, but it's not easy to build a compelling game. I think that's the message in there. Even if you are like Paradox, which is not the first, a newcomer. June, obviously, Shadow of the Earth Tree. It's I would say it's that the quality of the DLC. I think one of the other DLC that would be closed and that would not be done by From Software would be was it Liberty City? No, the one from Cyberpunk 2077. Liberty City? Was it Liberty City?
Phantom Liberty.
Phantom Liberty. Yeah, okay. I think this one was probably good. I think some of the DLC of The Witcher 3 were also super high quality, but I think again From Software has raised the bar of what the DLC with, and I think last time we looked, they achieved a very high attach rate to the base game for DLC. So yeah, Phantom Liberty, and I think Phantom Liberty was also a bit different context because they basically relaunched the base game at that time. July, again, bringing an old IP, an old franchise back, playing the nostalgia effect, but in this case, bringing like more modern gameplay and features. So was a good success for them. It was kind of great to see that happening. August, Ubisoft. There are many examples of Ubisoft struggling. The cancellation, I think, I don't even remember the name of the game, but it's been a terrible year for them. The release of Star Wars Outlaw, that was not successful, and that caused also they reviewed their plan for the release of Assassin's Creed Shadow, the time, the delay, the stock price, everything. We spoke enough about Ubisoft, but they were certainly part of the landscape last year. Ting, ting, ting. What do we have after that? Concord. Yep. Another one. We spoke enough about that one. Even the biggest publisher can go in the wrong direction, right? Like even if the game it's not about developing a game that's broken. It's really not finding your audience and probably disconnect between what you think player will like and what they actually like. It's more that where the disconnect was. It was not in the execution. It was really in targeting your audience, building a game, and realizing that maybe the audience you are targeting doesn't have the size you think it had, or your game doesn't have the feature that are necessary to attract this audience.
I think, by the way, on this specific note, and then you have Rivals that comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it's a bit sad for the creativity part, but it's based on existing IP, right? Concord had to build everything from scratch. Had to build a lore, had to build characters, like Overwatch did a long time ago. But it's challenging, right, to come with a new IP, even if you are Sony. Dragon Ball Sparkling Zero, which also great. Again, some kind of revival. and also not really a dormant IP in video games, but I think it was nice to see this enthusiasm. Another game coming from the east. Balatro, we've also mentioned Balatro a few times. It was crazy that they managed to generate more revenue on mobile, because nobody generates revenue on mobile by selling full games, right? It's all DLC, but in that case, they managed to do that and beat Minecraft. So I think there was also this dynamic with Balatro and all the awards ceremonies happening at that time that really bring back players and push for the sales. I think, if I saw that correctly, they actually sold more units after post VMA than before, or there was like a peak of sales at that time. And December, my favorite is Fortnite, right? It's still there after so many years. 2017, so it's 7 years and a half. It's still thriving. It's undethroned. It's still like almost solely holding the battle royale genre in the market, reinventing itself, bringing back old stuff, and it's the place to be for the teenagers, right? It's just yeah, that's just the thing. I was reading also something. It's like it's the social space of people, right? They don't use WhatsApp. They kind of use Fortnite to communicate. So it's replacing all other type of social media. So yeah, that's the long story short. I think what I saw, what I write, I think at the end is really the East is coming for the West, right? More and more, you have more and more publishers that are building games for the Western audience, that are delivering polished experience, that also have learned about the taste of the Western audience, and they have the financing, they have the workforce to really come and steal the show. Because if you look at the big successes from American or Western studios last year, well, yeah, you don't have so many. So let's see how it evolves, and let's see if there's also a shift in talent, right? If the place to be as a game developer becomes more Asian territories than Silicon Valley, for example. I'm really curious to see how that will evolve. Another thing I wrote is the industry is no longer forgiving mediocrity. You cannot be mediocre anymore. It's like it's 0 100, but if you are in between, you're gonna get zero almost. So launching a mediocre game, even with a good marketing campaign, that is not enough anymore. It's never going to save you anymore. Yeah.
That is an amazing take, Manu, and there was a lot there to unpack. But I'm really happy about this breakdown. But that was more or less the summary of last year. A lot of cool learnings and a lot of cool,
Awesome.
a lot of cool news to discuss. And I'm really curious to hear any comments, thoughts from Dave about this year. Dave, do you have the link? Do you want me to send it to you?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I saw, I think, like June and beyond. But I think one thing that interests me is the idea that mediocrity doesn't cut it anymore, which I think is true in some ways. And it's not just sort of the quality of the game, right? That there are some games, like I think a good example is Pal World, which launched pretty busted, a lot of bugs, and really weird in a lot of ways. But so I think there'd be a way you could say, oh, that's but mediocre. But I think the thing is that what we're looking at is a combination of kind of the game itself and marketing and everything. And basically, a game needs a reason to pay attention to it. And sometimes that's because it's super interesting and super new, and that can supersede kind of some of other things that people in the industry would traditionally call major concerns. I think Power World is generally my example of that kind of thing. That like, there's a lot of people I think who've been in the industry a long time. We're like, oh, you can't release a game in that state, or a game that weird. But it had a reason to pay attention to it. That's the main thing. And like Concord, on the other hand, there's a lot of ways to say in which it's not a mediocre game, right? It's a very polished, put together experience, but it has no reason to pay attention to it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you caught that one, David, because I mentioned like, yeah, but Rivals managed to like stick into that that exact same genre,
Yeah,
and were successful. Yeah,
yeah. I think the thing about Rivals, it's a strategic move. For one thing, it had the IP, that helps. It was good, that helps, and it recognized an opening in the market that Concord was not able to work with because it didn't have those things, but that opening did exist, and so it was able to take advantage of it.
Any other things, Dave? We discussed before you came on board. Obviously, you had Helldivers 2, Dragon's Dogma 2 by Capcom, Stellar Blade, Life by You was canceled. We've spoken enough about Elden Ring and Shadow of the Earth Tree.
Have you played Elden Ring, Casey?
I mean, what is that? I have no idea what that is.
Yeah.
Any thoughts about any of those? Life by You was a surprise. I feel like that like that market is underserved, right?
The market is underserved, definitely, and the Sims community is generally restive. If you go on any of the Sims, I play a lot of Sims actually. I need to go get my hard drive repaired so I can get my daughter's family back off of it. But this is a long time problem. Yeah, I think it just we don't know what's happening behind the curtain, and that was my guess. Because again, you do have to make some big changes to get people. The Sims fan base is restive, but they remain the Sims fan base, and they have invested a lot of time, a lot of money in that platform. So you need to give them a good reason to leave, and perhaps they thought that reason was not being offered.
Fair enough. I've also heard that starting a studio in San Francisco, where it's like super expensive, is probably not the smartest thing to do.
Yeah, this thing, Manu, you were just saying about like talent going to Asia is like, I think an interesting part of the story about like Wukong and games like that is that it doesn't cost as much.
Yeah.
You can still.
Yeah, I mean it's much cheaper to live in Asia as well, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Cool, gentlemen. Should I move over to the news?
Let's go.
Yes, and
let's do it.
This is where I wave goodbye. My mission is still I look forward until they've arrived to keep Casey busy.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries.
This was a mic drop. Thank you, Manu, for the insights and for the year in review, and we'll see you on the next one.
All right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
Have a nice one, man. Okay, Dave. I was gonna call you Skate.
Skate.
Hey, yeah. What's up, Skate?
What's up?
But that's just because of the first item on the news, Dave.
Is it related to EA Skate?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it does.
So Skate is finally ready for playtesting. Here's how to get involved. Are you excited for Skate?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know how much of it I'll play, but we played a lot of that back in college, and it's a cool game. There's no big skating game right now, though skating is, I don't know, are the kids, are the youths, are they talking about skating these days? I don't know.
I have no idea about skating culture these days.
Yeah.
You would assume it's like bigger than ever, right?
One presume it exists. I mean, I would be surprised if it was bigger than ever, just because it had so much cultural prominence in sort of the late 90s, early 2000s. Have a question about the world? See what Reddit has to say.
Maybe I should ask.
Figure skating. I think this might take a little more research than it was available in screen sharing format.
Yeah. I will have to do that.
Yeah, I think there's definitely an opening in the market for it there.
I'm not sure how many skate games did EA make.
3, 2, more than one.
But okay, yeah, there's 4. I'm seeing the logo 4 here.
4.
But I'm not sure if that is correct. I actually have a friend who's working on it. Okay, so they did. Okay, so now I see what they did. So 2007, Skate, the first Skate, was launched, and then you had Skate It, and then Skate 2 and 3, and then between 3 and Skate, the new Skate, there's a gap of roughly 14 years.
That's a lot of years.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel like it. That's just a weird thing. Maybe we're just like, time.
Yeah.
The concept of time. Okay, so I guess for those who are interested, there's a playtest happening. I'll move over to the next item. Oh, I love this this game, and I love that studio. I forgot the name of the studio, so you'll have to help me on that one. Until Dawn.
Yeah. What is the name?
What an
of this
amazing
studio?
game!
I never played it actually. I've never been a big horror guy. I'll play horror games, but that is like more of a it's a narrative horror thing, not like a survival horror. That's sort of my distinction. Personally,
I'll tell you my story of that game,
Mm-hmm.
which is it's the holiday season, Christmas, and all that stuff. I am at my wife's family,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of people there, and I hook up the PlayStation that I brought with me,
Mm-hmm.
and I put up that game. And I did not expect this, but I was sitting close to the TV because I was hooking up the PlayStation and all that stuff, so I was just testing it around. And then after like an hour, I look behind me and it's like, 7 people really into the game. And I was like, what the hell? Like, that's the first time it ever happened that way. But probably one of the best games I've ever played. And I absolutely recommend that game.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So interesting enough, most of those people, like the actors, are real life actors. And if they're making a movie out of that, that's interesting. I wonder if the movie's going to do better or not.
Yeah, it was anchored by Hayden Panettiere,
right? Sorry?
The game was anchored by Hayden Panettiere.
No, I would say, she was in the... Is that a she?
She,
yes. The blonde girl, right?
Yeah.
Maybe she's not a girl anymore. She's grown since then. But what's his name? Is it Rami? Or... The guy who plays Eddie, who plays the good lord, so terrible with names sometimes. What's the Queen? What's the movie about Queen? Rhapsody,
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, what's the guy who plays?
Rami Malek.
Thank you. Yeah. He's in that game.
Oh, cool. That was before he was all that.
This
famous,
was,
definitely.
I think, at the cusp of him like breaking through. Yeah. But absolutely. I'm really happy. But we spoke about movies last week, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. We did. What were we talking about? I can't remember.
We were talking about some Sony movies, Horizon, and some other ones. We talked about GT, and then
the GT one looked cool. We watched the trailer for that.
Hell yeah. So this is interesting, I would say. Okay, I'll move over to the next item. I read the next item, Assassin's Creed, and I was like, no, not a movie. Or there was already a movie. But anyways, so here we go again. Speaking of Ubisoft, and Manu did touch upon it a bit, but Assassin's Creed Shadows delayed again, this time by another month.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've learned anything about Assassin's Creed Shadows lately.
I feel like that if you're going to delay a game by 1 month, there's like 2 big reasons. One is that you're trying to outrun a major release, and the other is you're trying to crush bugs.
Yep. Maybe it's also one of those like situations where like, okay, we can't fail again. Like we have to make it perfect, or at least like whatever. Because here I'm reading, by the way, as part of the renowned focus on gameplay quality, engaging day one experience. So like because I assume most players will not make it past 10 hours or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I could just make the first 10 hours like amazing.
Yeah, my guess is this is a QA. This is some intense QA bug fixing situation here.
Do you have you read or heard anything about them changing any of the like big uproar that happened last year about if it's a character related thing, if it's like a story related thing? I know there was a lot of the Japanese audience obviously had a lot to say about this. Is there anything about that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're certainly not going to change sort of the core thing, which is Yasuke being the main character or one of the 2 main characters. So I don't really know what they would do to respond to that backlash.
Gotcha. Okay. Shall I move over to the trends then?
Let's move over to the trends. That's a great idea.
Unfortunately, we have a splash damage. So the news story: splash damage, jobs at risk following Transformers reactivate. Sorry, cancellation. So splash damage, I know because I was speaking to them last year. They've been they have multiple projects going on, but it seems like they've canceled the Transformers project.
Interesting. Transformers.
1 to 4 players co-op game.
That's interesting. I mean, obviously, this is probably happening for reasons that we're not sure of. The game was in trouble, studio's in trouble, all the kind of reasons that shit goes wrong.
Do you think? Sorry, Dave, for cutting off.
There. Transformers is also tough.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, it's highly split between kids and adults, and it's hard for me to imagine the game that you would make that would hit that fan base well without losing.
So I haven't seen anything from that game.
Yeah.
And I think there are 2 takeaways, and I would love your thoughts about that. One is I feel like the transforming mechanism, if it's not there and it's not proper, then you're majorly fucking up.
Yeah,
that's one thing. The second thing is, because as we were reading together, 1 to 4 player online action game or co-op game, are we seeing any similarities to Rockstar's Suicide Squad?
Rocksteady,
sorry.
Well, I think that's possible. With Rocksteady, one of the biggest problems with that is Rocksteady had a really strong fan base that was completely uninterested in that. So that's not a problem they're working with necessarily. But yeah, I don't know. It's easy to see transforming is. I'm interested in what a multiplayer game where transforming was a really big element. That could be cool, but who knows?
Both gameplay and so you're effectively almost building 2 games, right? Because if you're transforming into a vehicle, that vehicle needs to be fun to play with. If it's a car or helicopter, whatever it is.
Yeah. There's a lot of challenges there. For one thing, you can be a car or a helicopter or an airplane, so there's a lot of
Yep.
You need to juggle all that stuff.
And if you're just making cars, then that's a problem, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And
so what do? You drive, and then the cars can't be that fast because then you need to walk around. I guess the Transformers, when they're robot form, they can be. Yeah, there's just some decisions you need to make about what it means to be a vehicle and what it means to be a robot and how those 2 interact.
I'm seeing Titanfall in my head right now as I'm
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. Well, it's a shame we'll never get that game, but I hope that the people at Splash Damage are doing well.
That's what we hope.
There's an article here about use of AI in games in 2024. Let's dive into this and see, has anybody done anything, or what's this about? So this is a report from, is it called Andrew Horowitz? Is that or am I butchering the name now? A to Z? I'm not sure if you know about that company.
I don't
know. But here, so this is a report. They surveyed 651 employees from game industry companies of various sizes. And then 84% of the respondents work in teams of fewer than 20 people. And the results. What are the results? There's questions about, if AI increased the studio's productivity or decreased costs. Any thoughts about what you're looking at on screen?
So, I mean, if you go back up, you see a lot of solo devs. That's the biggest. That's by far the biggest thing. And once you throw in 2 to 5 people, which is a hop, skip, and a jump from solo dev, then you're at 56% of people responding that they are using AI, which I think that makes a lot of sense to me. And then naturally, artists are the top of that. I think some of the people that have the most to fear are concept artists.
And by the way, Dave, sorry again for budging in here. I just made a connection because it says here, founders and executives, 32%.
Solo developer. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, well, so 32. Yeah, it's definitely. And I do like to think of the CEOs of major companies just using AI to do their jobs, because you could probably do that. That'd be fine.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I mean,
ideation, that kind of thing. You're going to start
yeah,
seeing that there. It doesn't necessarily make something that you can like put right into a game. Certainly not code that you can put right into a game, or even like assets, anything like that. But it can take out some of those steps in the middle, especially for like the non consumer facing stuff.
yeah. Or if you're working with people, can like bridge the gaps to a certain, like if you're talking to an artist as an exec or whatever,
Yeah, you can be like,
hey, something
I want a dragon
similar-ish.
in a top hat, and you can be like dragon in a top hat.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That will probably help you get quicker to the communication.
yeah,
But I will warn any, young entrepreneurs or like, solo or maybe small studio, never ever pitch a game with AI art.
well, yeah.
I hope that goes without saying, but you never know. And then there's this question about how excited are you about AI's impact on the game industry? 31% are extremely excited. 36% are excited, and everybody else is like, indifferent or
I
concerned.
think that is more than half saying excited of some kind.
But it
I
does.
feel like with all this stuff, the best sentence I saw written about it was that robots were supposed to do my laundry and clean my house so that I can create art. They're not supposed to create art so that I can do my laundry and clean my house.
I wonder if it gets to that. Like,
Yeah,
once the robots take over, they're like, yeah, like,
yeah,
hey, we're gonna put you in the worst nightmare. Go do the laundry.
yeah.
That would be a funny world to live in, or maybe not so funny. But okay, I'll move over to the next item, my friend. Why so many video games cost so much to make? Oh yeah, this is Jason
This is the
Schreier.
Jason Schreier one. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I love this one. I actually commented about it on
Hmm.
LinkedIn. Would love to hear your thoughts about it.
It's interesting. There was a big discussion of this in a WhatsApp group I'm in, where I wasn't really talking that much because it was production guys talking, and they just know more about this kind of thing than me. And one of them was like, absolutely, this is the problem, is all this waste and all these incompetent executives. And the other one was like, well, actually, sometimes you do need a lot of people sitting around because, some things aren't together yet. Sometimes you do like that, like actually some really great things come out of like changing course and stuff like that. So I think that there is a little more to it than that, but in a basic way, good management brings costs down. There's no way. There's no way around it. I feel like the hidden warriors of the video game industry are definitely producers. Like, if you can make sure that your programmers always have that everyone in the studio like has something to do, and they're not waiting to do something until someone else gives them that thing to do, then you have a much better shot at not spending $600 million.
I think one of like people who I don't believe they were mentioned. Let me actually do a search. But I feel like Oh, never mind. He did mention creative directors. But I feel like people who are undecisive about what they're building and why they're building it
Yeah,
and for whom it's built.
yeah,
It seems like
that's a big issue, definitely. And just
yeah,
a lack of vision. A lack of vision
absolutely.
is difficult.
That's a piece I actually very much appreciate, and I hope people can actually find it and read it. I mean, I wouldn't say it's like gonna change your life, but it does like oh, okay, cool, this makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm actually more curious now about your secret WhatsApp group. I want to join now. I'm very
Well,
like.
it's for 4 people,
Oh, okay.
so
I see. I see.
that's it really.
Okay. 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 I'll move over to the next item on the trends then. It's hard to believe, but 22% of PC gaming monitors are now OLED panels.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, it makes sense.
Uh,
Price on that's been going down, and the thing about OLED panels is like everyone wants them, right? So, like whether it's phones or TVs or PCs or other handheld devices or that kind of thing, and when you have that situation like that, you can get prices to come down real quick because the whole screen producing industry is interested in it.
when I changed TVs to an LG OLED, it's night and day.
Yeah, no, OLED is
it's
amazing.
Yeah.
I was really disappointed. What was this, like 10 years ago, when the industry was like making its big push to 4K? And it's like, shut up about 4K. I don't care about 4K. I want OLED. That's what I'm interested in.
I
And
cannot
also,
disagree
you
with
want
that.
to talk about those expensive, costs going up. OLED does not make your game hugely more expensive to make, nor does it make your hardware hugely more expensive to run in terms of, power and all that. But 4K sure does.
I mean, the how the colors pop, the detail, it's such a huge difference
It is
from having
definitely.
like
I've still got my PlayStation Vita OLED screen. That thing is awesome.
amazing. Okay, Dave, I'll move over to the rumors then. Nintendo Switch 2 is reportedly getting 2 major Xbox games, including Halo. That's a weird rumor.
That is a weird rumor. Also, I don't know. Do people really care if Halo is on Switch 2? Who cares about that?
If we talk about maybe more broadly Microsoft,
it's probably Master Chief Collection, right?
But that would be a very well. I mean, from a revenue perspective, it's an amazing thing.
Yeah, no, I think it would definitely sell well. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure I said that.
Okay, so because I was gonna go back to the more broadly question, do you see or do you foresee Microsoft? Yes, they have their own thing. They have Game Pass, and Game Pass is going to be the Xbox, so to say, moving forward, just like Netflix, more or less, in my opinion, at least.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if that happens. But does Microsoft, like at that point, even care? I mean, even today, maybe do they even care about exclusives? Because
No.
it does feel like
I
are
feel
in
like
this.
their back end is far off of that. I think there are still things that they would prefer not to have on PlayStation. But that, to me, I mean, that's what a Microsoft exclusive is now. It's a thing that's not on PlayStation.
I believe the latest one was Indiana Jones. Was that correct? Would that be correct, or?
Yes.
We'll do some research on that. Okay, so I'll move over to the second rumor, which is really exciting for the Elden Ring people or the From Software fans.
The Elden Ringites.
Yes, sir.
Elden Ringists.
Bloodborne isn't getting a remaster because From Software's Miyazaki, sorry for butchering your name, is so busy and doesn't want anyone else to touch it. Theorizes PlayStation veteran Shuhei Yoshida. And obviously, Shuhei is very,
he's always willing to say some stuff. That's fun.
Yeah. Well, now he doesn't have any skin in the game anymore, I believe.
Yeah, no. So now he's just popping off. But I could definitely see that as an argument. That would make sense to me. Because Bloodborne is the best From Software game, and clearly Hidetaka Miyazaki agrees with me on this.
Hey, actually, I have a signed copy by Shuhei.
Ooh, that's good. I just think that game is really it does so much that a lot of those other games don't, and it's just they've just done great work with that.
It did. I mean, many people don't know this, but a lot of the DNA of Elden Ring, in terms of minute-to-minute gameplay, of removing the shield. Yeah. Like, if you go back one generation before Bloodborne, it was always
shield.
I block, I hit, I block, I hit, and now with Elden Ring specifically, like the options are so open for people to actually, if you really want to be a magic guy, go for it.
You can do that.
If you want to be a dual sword, like a dual-handed person, go for that.
Yeah, no, they did a really, really nice work. I feel like Bloodborne had like 3 classes. It had like a blood class, it had a magic class, and it had a melee class, which can be a little muched around but they were very fluid, and Elden Ring is good at that as well, having kind of fluid ways of thinking about your character build.
Absolutely. I mean, the world of Bloodborne is also really interesting. Story-wise, if you compare all of them, I think Bloodborne had the most interesting one.
Definitely, and I think it did such a nice job. It's about madness, right? And like you go it uses the game format so well that you become mad as you play it. And as you become familiar with the world, it becomes more twisted. And what you thought it was is not what it was. And it does that in such an organic way that I think I've never seen any game quite use the format as well as that.
And for those who are listening who don't know what we're talking about, I mean, if you want to just get a taste, just like Google,
just a taste.
Just Google School of Mensis, or like find what's that guy on YouTube who breaks down Souls game, Van Dati or
I'm
something.
not sure.
He starts with a V, but just like just the story about the School of Mensis and what happened there and how it ties to it's I would say it's genius level in many ways.
Yeah, no, I think so. And you feel stuff. It's not like one of those games where you like the lore is extraneous and you can know about it if you want. You can play the game without understanding the lore, and that's cool. And then it pushes you into understanding it better in a really effective way.
Yep, absolutely. And like how they use the item descriptions to tell story. I mean, that stuff is just
that's great. And so that's always been a great part about how From has approached that kind of thing.
Absolutely. Dave, I will jump over to the numbers.
Let's go to the numbers. Let's do it.
You like numbers, right?
Oh, I love numbers. 6.
This is actually 45. A very surprising thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
those are some good numbers.
We have 7s and we have 5s, so there you go. Yeah. We have half the numbers you like. So Hitman, World of Assassination reaches 75 million players worldwide.
I mean, that's just some of the best games we've got in the industry. So absolutely deserved. What good stuff.
I mean, congratulations to IO to
definitely.
Sedimenting Hitman. I mean, is this is not a mobile game only, right? Or is it?
Hitman World of Assassination? No, Hitman World of Assassination is like the name that they've given Hitman 1, 2, and 3, basically. That it all ties together. It's all kind of one platform. It's a funny, like, there's ways in which that is live service. There's ways in which it's not live service, but that's what it is.
I remember like almost 10 years ago or 15 years ago, the Giant Bomb. I used to follow the Giant Bomb cast, and they were always talking about things happening in Hitman.
It's because it's awesome. It's just some of the smartest, coolest games. Love them.
But it seems like you have had experience with the game. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've played through all. I haven't kept up with it for the past couple of years.
Yeah,
but I certainly played 1 through 3.
But what's the So if I understand correctly, please do let me know what it is. So there's a map. It's a puzzle almost, and there's different ways of solving that puzzle. And you have to assassinate somebody. Obviously, it's in the name. Can you just break it down for us quickly, please?
So you're given a place. Very frequently, but not always, this place is sort of combines public and sort of off limits. So the first level is still kind of one of the best because it's so much time making it. So it's a fashion show. So on the first, you have an invitation to this fashion show as a spectator. So you can go and roam around a lot of the areas freely on the first floor. One of the targets that you're supposed to kill is kind of in the mix, in the crowd there. And then the other one is in a higher security area on the third floor. And you have to get disguises and kind of weave your way through this to try and gain access to different places. And you can kill them in lots of ways that you might like. But sort of the game is arranged around arranging Baroque accidents for them. And you have these kind of stories where you can. So in that first level, one of the major models looks a lot like you. So you can take out the model and then you can go to hair and makeup and you can turn out to look exactly like him. And then you get a meeting with one of the targets and then you drown her in the toilet. You drown a lot of people in toilets.
There's a lot of creativity involved basically as well. It's a puzzle solving, creative. Okay. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, I haven't done Freelancer, their roguelite mode, but I really want to do that. That seems super cool.
But you're playing single player, right? Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, single player game. Definitely.
Cool. So, some more news on Pokemon.
Okay, good. Always need more Pokemon news.
Pokemon trading card game, Pocket. So now we're smashing 400 million in 10 weeks.
Damn, good for them.
I think we reported 250 like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, this wasn't it wasn't shocking. I mean, like, lots of the times good ideas or things that seem like natural fits don't work, and so it's always kind of satisfying when they do. But yeah, good on them. Good on them making that thing.
Dave, that is more or less what we have for today.
Yeah, I guess it's a slow beginning of time here, but yeah. That's
Anything?
cool. I suppose there was a whole podcast
anything?
before I arrived as well. So
it's a half a podcast.
Yeah.
The other half is with you,
yes,
of course.
Of course.
Are there any other? I don't want to put you on the spot, obviously, but is there anything else from an industry perspective that is worth mentioning or talking about today?
Switch 2.
Yeah, we didn't get your thoughts about the Switch 2. Let's get your thoughts about the Switch 2.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm excited. I'll buy it. I'm really interested by the fact that I didn't. Maybe this was already announced. I don't know. I can't remember. But I was not clear at the time if they were going to have exclusive games that you would not be able to play on Switch 1. That does seem to be the case. So excited to be what that's going to be. And I would be pretty surprised if one of those was not Mario Kart. Given the video, which did not appear to be showcasing a track that is available in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yeah, both me and Manu agreed that we probably want to see a Mario game, right? Because I think
it's time.
3D,
it's time, definitely.
Yeah, because we haven't seen anything like big aside from Odyssey, right? In like that type of format of Mario game.
Yeah, no, that's the only kind of what you could think of the marquee Mario games. That's the only one that we've had for a long time. What was the one before that? Was it the Galaxy era? Because Wii U did not have a 3D Mario, did it?
It did not.
Yeah.
What we used was an extremely special case, and maybe there's a lot of learnings here. So you launch Wii, successful.
Yeah.
Super successful, by the way.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, Wii is a bit of a complicated situation as well because it's like
motion.
A lot of people bought a lot of people bought the Wii, but they didn't buy a lot of games for it.
A lot of old bowlers.
Yeah, exactly. So I do think that they didn't have very much in the way of an attach rate, so that was tough for them.
But I mean, once they went to the Wii U, that thing just nobody cared about that thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you're committed to innovating on hardware, sometimes you innovate badly. That's how that goes. And good on them. I mean, I'm going to buy it. I'm definitely going to. I mean, this is definitely Mario. Yeah. Mario Kart is definitely. I don't. That's not Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Maybe someone will tell me I'm an idiot. Of course it is, but I don't believe it is.
I mean that what we just saw on screen, that what is it called? Gas station. I don't feel like
and it looks bigger.
Something I've seen before. Yeah. So yeah, we might expect a Mario Kart and maybe a major Mario game. Yeah. Maybe even an announcement in a Zelda thing, but not necessarily a Zelda thing on launch day.
I think that's right, and I do like how the little things come out of the Joy-Cons, because the original one has those like weird bumper things that you put on there, and I don't know, I've never.
Are you talking about the sliding mechanism?
Yeah. I always lose those.
Yeah, that one is terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. Yeah, we were talking about before you joined about like the amount of Joy-Cons I've gone through the past 7 years.
Yeah,
because they just keep breaking down.
Yeah.
Do you feel like quality has been an issue But do you feel like hopefully we get a better quality? Because I was like asking Dave, like, hey, maybe I should just sell my Switch right now. I have the games over there.
Yeah.
For the Switch.
I mean, I could definitely.
Just like,
I think that they're going to be more attentive to quality this time around. That would be my guess.
I hope so.
Mostly,
I
mean, like, if they seem to be positioning that in this way, you know.
Dave, I think we reached the end.
We've reached the end.
Have we? You tell me.
Yeah, I think we've probably reached the end. If we've got no more news items, that's fine though. We can
Switch 2.
Switch 2. That's the big one.
April 2nd for the. Oh yeah, I can ask you this question. Do you think they will do like? Do you think they will launch it later during the? Because okay, so in April 2nd they will do a Nintendo Direct. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Are we gonna look at an Apple approach of releasing the same week or day or whatever, or are we looking at like? Oh yeah, wait until fall.
Yeah,
where you.
I think
maybe play.
I would like to see it released not in fall. I think if I was designing that strategy, I think April live stream into it. That'd be cool. That'd work. But it's Nintendo, and they are relatively conservative with that kind of thing. So I expect them to announce it in April and sell it in the fall. Pre-orders will open at the announcement.
And when we say fall, do we mean like early fall or late fall?
I just can't tell you. I just can't tell you. Okay. I would say October.
Okay. We have one bet. October it is.
All right, we'll get them on
later. I'm hoping earlier, like you said.
Yeah.
But I feel like it would be weird if we would get like GTA 6. Well, maybe GTA 6 is on the Switch too.
That anything's possible.
That could be huge. Right?
It would be huge. It won't happen, but it would be. It would also be huge if you could go into the Switch 2 and take out a literal sandwich and the sandwich would have fresh tomato.
Is GTA 5 on Switch?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. They have the trilogy on the Switch.
Yeah, it's not. Oh wait, GTA 5 landed on Switch?
Really?
Testing. What is this? What's going on?
Yeah, there's a mod.
Yeah, it's got to be a mod or some shit like that. I have Amazon UK, GTA 5, Nintendo Switch. There's a picture of Sniper Elite 4.
Dave. GTA 6 exclusive on Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, I don't see how that's definitely going to happen. Obviously, that will happen.
No, but it could always have fun with it.
Yeah.
Dave, really appreciate having you here today. Thank you so much for showing up.
Yeah, definitely.
And helping us complete this program.
Yeah, I think this has been an exciting adventure in podcast formatting.
I have a new camera. Is that noticeable in any shape or form?
Yeah, I love it.
Do you care?
I do. I definitely care. I have a slightly different angle than I feel like I've had before. You can see different parts of my...
We need to get you set up, man.
We'll do it.
So
I have some art to throw back here, so that'll help.
Well, your video is off-white, or whatever you want to call it. Whitish. Washed-ish. We need to get your microphone because I think me and you have the same microphone. We just need to get you on the right settings.
You sent the setting thing. We'll do that.
We'll talk about it after. But again, thank you so much for joining. Obviously, we have the newsletter, Gies newsletter. I have some really cool new updates that are happening to the brand and all that stuff in the newsletter. So that's probably going to be rolled out soon. We have a logo for the newsletter finally, awesome, so that's a really cool thing. But yeah, for those who want to follow us and do all that social stuff that we always would appreciate you do, but also the main thing is the newsletter. And if you want the game news of our industry in less than 30 seconds, then what you do is you go to mightydiamonds.substack.com.
Yeah.
And I probably need to change that to guys.substack.com for easier access.
Yeah, that's a good point. Which we can do. We have the technology. Don't worry.
We have the technology. So we'll get that done. And with that being said, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you later.
Hey!